Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Fire Emblem Three Houses. So, this is the last support-focused episode of the Black Eagles, specifically, Let's Play. So, yeah, it's just getting through all the supports. There's a nice bunch of them. Yeah, it's a bit longer than normal, but again, I just wanted to get through all of them and see them and just see what they're, just get through all of them. And it's nice to see because a lot of them are A support, so it feels like closure before the final battle. Because after this point, we fight Dimitri, we fight Rhea, and the game ends. And then we move on to whatever Let's Plays next. Oh god, I got my work out for me, but I'm glad that it's coming to an end. I mean, granted, it was definitely very back and forth with the upload schedules, but I think after doing this and after Sacred Stones, I think I've learned when it comes to games like this, unless it's a blind play, because like Black Eagles was blind, so that I had to just do as I went along. It wasn't something I could really, plan around that well. But I feel with a lot of, again, like RPGs and stuff like that, I think it's best if I just, because again, I've done this one bait, I think it's best if I just beat the game first, get all the footage, and then and then have it all ready to go. Otherwise, we'll be having so many stops. Because remember, the Let's Play is not a primary thing for me, it's always a secondary. The main channel's primary. So if I have the game done, I can at least easily go back to it and just record. Yeah, but again, this is what I mentioned about Linhardt before. Again, he really starts to doubt his goals in life, because again, Linhardt's only really cared about Crest and such. He doesn't really have an interest outside of it. But at the same time, one of his biggest things, he doesn't like warfare, he doesn't like blood. And it's like, oh, but if I achieve my dream, all my research is just going to create more warfare and bloodshed. So that's really, really difficult for him. But again, it's like, it's like, what do I do? It's like, do I do nothing with my life, or do I contribute, or do I do something with my life, but it's something that goes towards something I hate? It's a difficult conundrum. It's a very, very interesting moral conundrum for him. It makes for an interesting character. Yeah. And again, he also, doing Crest research actually gets him out there and spending time with people, and does like that. But again, it's also why maybe, having, like, Edelgard's regime kind of, like, has its perks and its downsides, because then again, if she gets rid of the Crest system, Linhardt probably won't be able to do much research. God, she's not really like, the Crest system is more so how it just prioritizes people. She's not getting rid of Crest as a whole, especially because she talks to Hanneman about it. Getting rid of Crest isn't solving the problem. It's taking away the status quo about using Crest in order to, using Crest in order to, give you, like, prioritize you in life. That's unfair.
Have a seat. Would you care?
So I really like that. So like, it's like if she gets rid of the thing, Linhardt can look into what Crest can do outside of it, because that's what Hanneman care about. It's like, what can Crest do as a whole, not just for warfare.
Point of cake?
Yeah, and now we've got Edelgard and Lysithea. This one is really, really sweet, because obviously Edelgard's just, she knows what Lysithea likes, she's treating her nicely, but she comes forth and says, look, Lysithea, I know about you, I've suffered the same things. Obviously, Lysithea probably feels a bit more comfort knowing, oh my god, we both suffer. And it's kind of obvious, they both have the same color tint to their irises, and they've lost their hair color, because I think Edelgard was brunette before this, and I have no idea, Yeah.
Edelgard.
It's like they got far more, I don't know what Lysithea's hair color was before that. I mean,
The fact that I have
so Lysithea just comes out and says, look, I have two crests, and Edelgard doesn't outright say it, but I don't think we don't reach the A support, which sucks, but, I really want to see I do want to see where it goes, so that's going to be really, 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 cool. Yeah, but Edelgard's like, she can sympathize with Lysithea, and again, she wants to help her because she knows she's naturally weaker. They've both been through the same thing, but Edelgard has come out stronger because of it. Well, stronger physically, yeah.
The first I'm hearing of it.
So, obviously, Edelgard's just trying to befriend her and stuff like that. And it's nice because, again, they both have suffered greatly, so they can find comfort knowing what the other's been through. They can sympathize better. And it is sweet seeing that because, Edelgard does have her nice moments, and seeing these two, especially because Edelgard's a bit cold and Lysithea's a bit touchy. So seeing these two come together and just be,
since you just told me.
be otherwise sisters. Again, they're still not like super cutesy wootsy buddy, but just,
However, according to the principles of Crest.
But at the same time, it's also reassuring because, again, they go into this with, like, Linhardt goes into this too. Two Crest should be impossible. So the fact that you survive, we don't know what the outcome is, And the fact that you survive probably shows that you're quite strong. So, it's like, again, Lysithea kind of thinks, oh shit, my life is going to, like, just end soon. But Linhardt, and I think it's like, Linhardt's like, well, we don't know for sure. Yeah, the fact this should be impossible in the first place, so the fact that you're here is incredible. And,
You're a good friend, Lysithea.
And Edelgard's like, we've been through the same thing, we're both still around, you know, we can keep fighting this, yeah. But, you know, we want to be careful just because, you know, it's a difficult process, yeah.
I understand.
It's just really, really sweet. And I like how Edelgard just knows, like, so you want some cake? Don't talk to me like that, Edelgard! But yes, I love this. But, yes.
Yes, I'll take those. Thanks.
Like, for God's sake, Edelgard, it's not like I like cake or anything, Barker, but I will take them, Barker. Oh, funny stuff. Oh god, the Hubert ones. Yeah, there's a lot of Hubert ones here. This one is just like them finally coming to terms with each other through tea and coffee. But, so something I was actually discussing with a friend of mine, where she, because she recently beat Black Eagles, but she played Blue Lions first. And she told me, like, how surprised, like, interesting it is to see Edelgard in this light, because she's become much more sympathetic, understand her better. Because apparently, in all the pathways, the Blue Lions one is the one where Edelgard's shown to be the most evil. And, you know, that's quite interesting, because the other ones is not so much. And if I played Black Eagles first, I know what Edelgard's like. And again, I think it's probably because of that, because the Blue Lions is Dimitri's focus, it's his perspective. So naturally, Edelgard would be seen as the most diabolical because he can't stand her, he absolutely hates her. And again, I kind of noticed that too, the way Rey is shown to be way, way, way more evil, like just, she seems a lot more evil in Edelgard's path because she's the one that Edelgard has, well, Edelgard's the one that she has beef with and stuff like that. Because remember, Edelgard doesn't really have beef with Dimitri. If anything, she couldn't care less. It's just like, Dimitri's just obsessed with her. It's like, she's just a case of, look, you get in my way and I'll screw you over. But it's like, no, I'm specifically after Rhea. Dimitri and Claude are of no concern to me. It's just a case of Dimitri's lost it. Like, again, if Dimitri just surrendered and like, alright, Edelgard, I give up, you win, spare me and my people, Edelgard would be like, okay, cool. But if it's like Rhea, it's like, no, fuck you, Rhea, you're dying. It's one of those, yeah, but when it comes to warfare, it's one of those things where you either win, well, for the most part, you either win or you die. Especially if you're a leader in particular. I mean, there are some exceptions when, you know, you just surrender and, you know, you probably place under house arrest or, like, you know, you get time and life in prison, but, you know, stuff like that.
Even if I find you to be
yes, and then Hubert's going on about regardless of my personal, you know, my personal feelings towards you, I just look at you in terms of your actual ability. So like, you may be overbearing, annoying, and a bit of a tunnel-visioned idiot, but you are still an impressive, you know, person. You have an incredible resolve, and that's what matters most. Hubert cares for ability rather than not attributes. I guess personality. Yeah, performance more so personality. Oh god. It's like, god, he just screams, you know, well, just that type of, not Fire specifically, just pro player type person. It's like, I couldn't care how this character supports it. All I care about is their base stats. But yeah, so again, at the end of the day, even though even though they don't like each other, they can't deny that they're both exceptional people. And Bernadette's just trying to make up with Hubert. And it is sweet that Bernie's going out of her way, even though Hubert clearly isn't offended by what she did, but she takes it personally because she feels bad about what she's done. So obviously Bernie does very much care. It's not like, oh, Hubert's like, oh, I don't care. I was like, oh, good, I don't have to talk to you again. It's like, no, I'm sorry, I really want to make it up to you. Yeah. And Hubert's like, okay, fine. And he's not one of those people like, go away, leave me alone. He's like, anyway, that's cool. Again, but I think, again, I love the facial expressions of Three Houses. It's just, but when Bernie smiles, it's so sweet, and when she panics, it's so funny. But anyway, so going back to that thing, yeah, it is interesting to see how different perspectives and different stories portray different characters. Because again, Byleth, even though we are the main character, so to speak, and we're the ones, we're viewing it from Byleth's point of view, because of, like, you know, we're not the main instigators of the story. It's you know, Claude, Edelgard, Rhea, and Dimitri. It's interesting to see how, based on who's in charge, how things change in contrast to that. Which is why I'm interested to see what they're going to do for Silver Snow, because obviously, I don't know what they're going to do with Edelgard, because it's probably going to be focused more so on just trying to find Rhea. Again, I don't know. I reckon Edelgard will still be evil. But then there's the Golden Deer, where Claude's kind of neutral towards everyone, so how's he going to view the entire situation? It's going to be interesting, and again, I look forward to seeing that. Please do not spoil it. Hubert's face. That is the face of, I'm going to fucking punch, I will punch you, woman.
I dislike you laughing at me, but it is
Hubert looks like he needs some sleep. So yeah, I think that's really, really cool how Three Houses does that. It does change things. And again, Fates did that too, but it went too extreme, like with the way Xander is. Like, yeah, obviously the Norians would be made to look more evil in Birthright, but Xander just went stupid. And also, it's like, it's like, Conquest, obviously, Takumi, they did well, but, well, there wasn't really, that's the thing, none of the other ones really got any focus, so to speak. They were just kind of there, like Ryoma's just there, Sakura, just there, Hinoka's just there. Takumi was the only one who was more consistent, so to speak. So, just more consistently present throughout. So, I thought, I think Takumi, they did well, just no one else. Oh yeah, here's another one. And then this one's quite cool, too, because, like, Petra's, like, wants to be seen just for herself. She wants to be viewed as an equal and stuff like that. And Hubert's, like, again, he doesn't outright out of malice, he just compares everyone to Edelgard, because that's the type of person he is. It's not out of disrespect, that's just who he is. He will always compare everyone to Edelgard. But then, and again, it's not a case of I'm looking down on you, I just always look up. I will always look up to Edelgard, yeah. But obviously people don't like that. They want to be seen for who they are. They don't want to be constantly compared to people. And again, I know how that feels. It's just annoying when some people compare me to other just people in the industry. It's like, look, I mean, obviously, you know, when people are in for certain fields and doing certain things, it's kind of normal to compare, but it's a bit annoying when that's all people, and that's the first thing people do, when rather than judging you for who you are, they just see how you match up to someone else. It feels a bit degrading, so to speak. Even if they're not doing it out of malice, they just can't, you know, they're just doing it because, you know, people are similar. And eventually Hubert does learn to view her, you know, as an equal, and I think that's good, because again, it's like with anything. I mean, if we take games for example, I like to view, like, if it's a game, like, I like to view games not only for as they are, but I do compare them to their genre and their franchise if that's applicable. Well, genre is applicable, franchise is the thing, because if it's a one-off game, they don't have one. But, you know, I look at the game for what it is, but also look at the game within its context of the franchise. For example, if we take Fire Emblem, I think Awakening is not that strong of a Fire Emblem game due to how unbalanced the gameplay is and how weak the story is. But I think it's a fantastic video game because of how easy it is to get into and how it's very user-friendly. So as a video game, I think it's incredible. As a Fire Emblem game, I don't think it's that strong. At the same time, Radiant Dawn's the opposite. I think it is a strong Fire Emblem game because, yeah, the story has issues, but the scope of it is great. Having multiple characters and multiple storylines going on at once is really cool. The way the gameplay is designed to really encourage, like, again, it's on a grand scale, it's a bit more difficult, there's a lot of customization you can do with skills and so on, and it's quite the power trip. But at the same time, as a video game, I don't think Radiant Dawn's that great because it's so user-hostile, it's designed in a way that's not welcoming to new players, it's a bit restrictive in that sense at first, and that can be a real big turnoff. So again, it's a bit of both. And again, we look at, here's another example, we look at Metroid Other M. It's an awful Metroid game because the story and characterization is bad, it's way too linear, the power-up system is dumb, and I'm trying to think, again, the music is weak, which, you know, for Metroid, that's really bad. But as a video game, the graphics are really good, the combat system is fun, the boss fight's great, the level design, while a bit linear, has a lot of memorable set pieces, and, you know, as a video game as a whole, it's a pretty decent action-adventure game. But as a Metroid game, it's damn weak. You know, again, it's one of those things where some things, you know, look at it for what it is, but also how it stacks up. You got to judge both. If you judge one too much, then you can be missing the big picture.
And what if I don't?
I love that Shabir. Like, Hubert's trying to, you know, get Shabir to, like, not submit to Edelgard, but be more of a loyalist, just to be more. Alright, I don't mean to be degrading, but complacent, so to speak. You know, he just wants to know, make sure Shamir's more, like, where her loyalties lie, that type of thing. But at the end of the day, you know, Shamir's never going to be like that. Hubert just has to trust her. But, you know, Shamir's not the type to backstab. She's loyal to her employers. She doesn't have a bias or anything like that.
It takes guts to disobey a direct order.
And so on. Yeah. So I think that's really cool. But at the same time, she points out to Hubert, it's like, yeah, but you're going behind Edelgard's back and doing this stuff too. But a little bit of a hypocrite, dude. Yeah, I've just know that. Hubert is a tiny bit of a hypocrite. I mean, again, I know he's doing it for Edelgard's benefit and all that stuff, because again, she is a busy woman. But at the same time, it's like Ferdinand points out, if you feel Edelgard's out of place, tell it to her directly. Don't just go behind her back. Yeah.
Logical through and through.
But at the same time, what he does is for, like, a more logical purpose, because it's like, why waste time trying to work around this when I can easily just do this? You know, Hubert doesn't beat around the bush. He just does it. You know, he's very logical, he's resourceful, and he's straight and to the point. Actually, something else I found interesting about Three Houses, because again, I remember this is a complaint I heard a lot in the early stages of when the game first came out. I haven't noticed it for a while because we haven't really covered it. But during the live stream, when I was doing Annette, Gilbert, and Marianne's paralogue, it really did hit home how a lot of some really useful information is hidden behind these paralogues, which I think was a bit... I like it because it gives incentive to use them, but it feels a bit odd locking away such important stuff, especially because some paralogues, like Annette's and Gilbert's and Lysipia's and Ferdinand's, are so difficult to unlock. The stipulation is so, you know,
I wouldn't mind staying on
because I imagine there's quite a lot of people out there that don't use Gilbert, because I imagine there's a lot of people that don't like Armanites, and if they do, they just stick with Dudu, which is what I did. The only reason I use Gilbert because Dudu isn't there at the moment. So because of that, it's just really, really, you know, strange, so to speak. Yeah, it does feel weird to just lock it away, because again, I mean, it was great, like, the paralogue, in terms of design, Marianne's paralogue sucks, I'm sorry. Fog of War, thick enemy density, thick bullshit density, so difficult movement, tons of danger beasts, and they're pretty much the only enemy in the game. Fuck off, I'm sorry. But at the same time, to its credit, well, the map, because of the story context, the map makes sense, and do like the 3 houses, often the maps reflect the actual, like, you know, the story. They're not just like, you know, the locations are actually tied to a story and paralogue event, so that's really, really cool.
I think I let myself get a little too worked up, though.
So, what do you call it? And
when I saw it happening, it reminded me of
and again, I like what it goes into about Marianne's crest and why it's so rare and why there's actually, like, it's destined to bring people misfortune. And again, the fact of having that character Maurice there and a talking danger beast was so cool. Again, it's like, that's an amazing plot point. Why is it in a paralogue? But, oh well, you know, it's just one of those things. I thought it was really, really damn cool. So again, there is more incentive. I just wish the paralogues weren't so, like, either poorly designed in terms of, well, again, it varies from paralogue to paralogue, but also so difficult to unlock in certain stipulations. Like, some are easy, like the Ingrid and Dorothea ones aren't too bad, because you need either Ingrid or Dorothea. You don't need both, you just need one of them. And like the Shamir and Alois one, you know, you don't need Alois at the time, you just need Shamir, and Shamir is relatively easy to obtain. So again, I like that when it's relatively easy, but then you've got the Gilbert and Annette one where you have to wait to time skip and have both of them at C support. Granted, C support isn't difficult to get to, but again, I imagine a lot of people didn't use Gilbert. And yeah, the thing's cool because it shows more of the internal conflicts going on within their family, because we get hints of it, but now we learn more. But again, it's like 3 houses. Again, you kind of ass backwards when it comes to the paralogs and how to get some of them. But this one, you know, again, this support's really nice too, because it just goes into, like, well, she's thankful for standing up, but and she goes into, like, her past and how she was sold off and stuff like that, pretty much for her crest. And then, you know, again, like, Ferdinand goes on about nobility is something you earn, you don't just get given to you. You've got to, just because you're a noble, you're not a noble until you actually act like one. Again, it's more than just having a title, it's earning that title. And again, I agree with him, because, yeah, Ferdinand is a bit overbearing at times and silly, but he does act like a noble, and again, and stuff like that. He does act like someone who is trying to set a good example. And again, I can't, you know, with some, you know, I can admire that when, again, what he's doing is not to just for himself, it's actually to help inspire other people and be the best he can for others. So that's really, really good. Okay, so this one is a nice ending for it, but again, this is one of the sillier supports. I mean, Bernadette and Caspar do suffer from this, where some of their supports are just downright silly. Not cringeworthy, don't get me wrong, but just a bit odd. Yeah. I mean, again, it's funny in this context because, yeah, Bernadette would panic and Caspar would literally just pick her up over his shoulder and just drag her away as she's kicking and screaming. But it is sweet because the location that, you know, he takes her to is nice and it's personal for them. So Bernadette is a little bit romantic in that sense, even though, you know, the process of getting there involves a lot of kicking and screaming. But yeah, it's definitely, you know, funny, so to speak. It's definitely funny. But obviously Caspar's a bit insensitive. It's like I didn't mean to, I didn't do it to hurt you or anything. It's like, I was kicking and screaming, you dickhead.
I was just excited to show it to you.
Yeah, obviously he went a little overboard. And it's just the two of them overreacting. He went overboard with excitement, she went overboard with panic. Yeah. But yeah, it's good. It's cute to see them have this, like, a location that they can both find very, very beautiful and awe-inspiring. So yeah, I'm just thinking of any other paralogs that were like that. Because again, with some it's fine. Like Bernadette and Petra's fine because they're both Black Eagles. It's time skip, which makes sense for Bernadette to go outside. And even then, it's not 100% imperative. All you get to do is see more relationship building between them. It's not like, oh, this is so imperative to the story. It's just a nice. Same with Edelgard's one. Hubert's one kind of imperative because it kind of goes into his motivation of what he does at the end game, and you also get and stuff like that. But again, I don't think it's like as thingamajig. Trying to think of others. Dedue's one's good, but again, that's pre-time skip and you've got a lot of time. So yeah, I think maybe if the paralogs were not so anal with how to get them. Like, I imagine, like, the Annette and Gilbert one, you just need to have them both alive by that point. You don't need C support. And maybe the window was a bit bigger. You know, some of these paralogs have a really small window. Granted, it's not exactly hard to miss, because you get, like, 2 weeks to try it out. So even if you miss, like, you know, if you're doing, like, exploring 1 week, you have the second week to do it. And so on.
Look at that gorgeous
But again, yeah, again, with Three Houses, I can definitely tell in areas it felt like, not rushed, but a bit haphazard, like with Black Eagle's story, with some of the master classes, and again, some of the paralog requirements. Okay, Three Houses is definitely a bit rough in areas, but overall, it is still a fantastic game. It's also one of those games where it's a fantastic video game and fantastic Fire Emblem game, so go Three Houses. It's just, it's just, you pick up on these things the more and more you play it. And again, that's like any video game. But at the same time, you also notice things, like, you know, playing Three Houses again and again, I have noticed that some of the map design can get, like, it's only, because again, there are pathways, it's only getting worse, and again, some of the parallel stipulations only getting worse, but by playing it again, the lore building is getting even better, and the perspective shifting, and the little details are getting even better as well, so it's a bit of both.
Dorothea?
And this one's really, really sweet too, for Dorothea and Manuela, because it's both of them kind of having a backup plan, so to speak. Because again, obviously Dorothea and Manuela want to find someone, but it's not easy. With the war going on, it's even harder, and they're not getting any younger. Granted, they've still got a good number of years on them before anything starts to really deteriorate. So, but at the end of the day,
Not entirely sure.
because of their relationship, at the end they say, would it be okay if we just live together? Just as like friends, maybe lovers, and just be together? Because again, that's what Dorothea wanted to share the stage with Manuela. But the only reason Dorothea got to where she is because Manuela gave up. Because Manuela was so popular at the time. It's like, if I don't step down, Dorothea's going to be forgotten. So Manuela, pretty much paved the way for her, and that is very sweet and lovely. And, you can see that Manuela clearly cares for her. Manuela is not completely selfish. She does care for other people. And she's willing to, step down from all the fame that she had for the sake of Dorothea. There are other reasons too, but that was one of the primary ones. And again, it's very sweet. And at the end, Dorothea comes to realize, and both of them come to realize that it's not about, they want someone. Again, theirs is more of a backup plan, but they will have each other because they couldn't find someone outside, they couldn't find someone to fall in love with, from this point on. But they've always loved each other for such a long time. And again, it's really sweet like that. And it makes sense. Yeah, Manuela's a bit older than Dorothea, and it's kind of like a mother-daughter thing. But again, they are... there you go. Manuela really helped Dorothea in her life, and Dorothea stays by Manuela and sees the best in her, whereas a lot of people see the worst in Manuela. So it is a really, really sweet ending for both of them. And again, it makes sense. It's like... it's kind of like, it's just, I'm trying to think of a character where it's like that, where they just go off together, not so, just because, they know each other so well, and more so if their life doesn't pan out the way they thought it would be. Because again, Dorothea and Manuela, it's not their first priority. They obviously want to get with someone else, but it's, it's one of those backup plan things, like they've known each other so long. I'm trying to think of finding characters like that, where, they don't get together, they eventually just come, they find solace in each other if their lives don't plan out the way they expected it to be. I'm really trying to think. It's kind of like imagine if, say, like, I don't know,
Would have been nice to stand beside you on stage.
Odin and Selena, like, say, they wanted to find other people, but they made a promise to each other, like, if nothing happens, because we've been so much together, we can live the rest of our lives together, in this future. Sorry, in the past, so that type of thing. So,
What do you mean by that?
it would be,
You and me.
so it's just really sweet, At the end of the day, they have each other, and that's what matters most.
I think that'd be pretty.
It's not like they just instantly say, oh yeah, let's just abandon everything. No, it's always good to have a backup plan in life. Always, it's always good to follow your dreams and try the best at what you want, but be prepared if it doesn't go that way, and, you have something to fall back on, and that's what both of them do. It's, and it's really, really sweet. They finally be together finally at the end of the line, once once everything's been exhausted, they're finally able to be together happily, and that is very, very, very sweet. So yeah, so that was it for the supports, ladies and gentlemen. From this point on, it's pretty much gameplay, and even more gameplay aside from one proposal right at the end. So next time we meet, we're going to face off against the Kingdom. We're fighting Sylvain, we're fighting Tadu, and we are fighting Dimitri, and Edelgard will finally put him to rest. But it's actually quite this bittersweet ending for him. Until then, thank you all very much for watching. I will see you next time. Take care, and have a wonderful day.